Hi, I'm Chris from Gears and Queers.
And I'm Chris from Sparkplug TV.
And this is Fun Girly Car Time.
Hi, Girly Pop. How's it going?
It is going good, Iana. Miss Girl, how are you?
I am tired, but thank you so much for meeting me at 7 p.m. And you caught me before I took my evening shower, so I'm like, albeit dried sweat on my body from working outside today and filming outside.
Wow. Oh my God, is this erotica? Like dried sweat? And
you froze. Did you say something about erotica?
You couldn't hear me? I said, is this smut? Is this turning into erotica? Like dried sweat? Like I did a lot of yard work yesterday, and I smelled. The weird thing about my sweat is that it smells really like sweet. I don't really know. Like boys are very into it. I'm like not very much into sweat.
Wow.
But I also smelled like a campfire because I was burning the piles of wood that are strewn about my backyard haphazardly. I did that for like 4 hours, and I was using the chainsaw, and my entire body is one ache. Just the whole thing. What did you do?
Okay. This weekend? Well, Friday I went and saw Civil War.
That fucking trailer terrifies me. How was that?
Really? It really wasn't that bad at all. Like, I mean, it was a little scary. I mean, but it wasn't like there was nothing like political about it. Like it was very like middle of the road. And it was like from the POV of like a photojournalist. It was all right. Ooh. It was just kind of the ending was like, oh, okay, that's it. All right. Like I was like, okay, yeah. And then Saturday, I took my friend around town. We went thrift shopping. Nothing really spoke to me, so I didn't spend any money. So
that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. I don't need to be spending money. I'm trying to move in August, so. And yeah, but all weekend I've been carting my friends around in the 2024 Subaru WRX TR.
Ooh, yes, and I think you had just gotten her, or maybe the day after our last episode, right? Like this is a recent delivery to you.
I had her the day that we filmed our last episode, so like it had already been in my driveway, but. I have gotten used to her. I enjoy her. She is a joy to drive. A lot of fun. Really peppy 4-cylinder. Like near like I don't know, like 271 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, compact car, pretty fast, all-wheel drive.
Right, like she's got the goods. Is it like pretty good power, like low end too, even like off of like before boost builds?
Yeah, I would say so. And it really doesn't even use a turbo that much. I would say that it doesn't. It just and I think because of that, I think that it actually ends up not having much turbo lag at all.
Interesting.
And it's I don't know how to feel about the exterior. I think that the plastic cladding around the entirety of the car is a choice.
They were like, y'all bought so many cross tracks and so many outbacks that we're just gonna like throw it on there and just see if it hits, if it lands, you know, like.
Yeah, we're gonna like include it on that. Yeah,
I don't think they're necessarily like ugly. It's just also like like you said, it's kind of interesting design wise.
Yeah, it's just like I said in my YouTube video today that I wish that they gave the customers a choice between the plastic cladding and body color. Because I think because I see what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do, and which again, trends. The biggest trend in the automotive industry right now is kind of like future retroism.
Retrofuturism.
And that, yes.
You said future retroism,
right? So that's what they're trying to do, right? And so basically, what they're trying to do is kind of because the Impreza was the original WR, like the Impreza and the WRX were one and the same in the 90s,
right? Like it was like a trim of the Impreza.
Yeah. Now they're trying to make them look one and the same, but then differentiate them with the plastic cladding. And obviously one's a hatchback and the other is a sedan, but people complained because they think that the Impreza looks dumpy in the front anyway. I don't know. It's just It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. But so, bottom line, like, it's fun to drive. The interior is spacious as all get out. It's comfortable. The most comfortable Recaro bucket seats I've ever experienced. And I really dislike the vertical infotainment screen.
You see, like, I've used a couple of those, and I feel like it's one of those things where almost like it seems like it would make sense, but then you realize that like pretty much everything is designed to be landscape except for a telephone, right? So it's very interesting. Especially if you're going to use like CarPlay or Android Auto a lot, like that is just, it just doesn't quite work right.
It splays it out in all different directions, and it like makes the buttons minuscule. So my fucking fingers, my like giant ass fingers it's impossible to press the buttons while you're driving because they're so minuscule.
I literally despise that.
And I don't know, it's just so awkwardly spread out. And then, you know, they put most of the HVAC controls in a drawer at the bottom, and like just give me physical buttons. I don't know.
I saw, I forget where it was. There was like some sort of, it was an article or an interview maybe of like a Toyota and Lexus interior designer talking about like why they use so many physical buttons still. And it's like the idea that like something can be just done by touch, like you don't have to look and see. I feel like that is what has been lost with all of these things, right? Because like if it's a capacitive button, you still like need to know where the fuck it is to like push it. Like it used to be that like the shape of the button or like the feel of like a knob or something was like, you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm touching based on like where it is and what that feeling is. And it just like, there's so many cars that like you literally do have to just take your eyes entirely off the road to do something like change the wiper speed, right? Or like adjust the climate. That was one thing. Actually, speaking of Lexus, I disliked that the LC that I drove last year, you had to go into the menus, like into the screen to adjust the heated or ventilated seats. And it's just like, what if that was just like a thing that I could just like click and like be done and like look at the road?
That was also, I made, when you kept talking about touching things, I was like, honey. But I realized that my mic was muted. So like,
just like superimpose it, just like honey.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a problem on the Lincoln Corsair. The HVAC or even just the temperature, something as simple as like the temperature controls and the heated and cooled seats were slider buttons and there were drawers that popped out, and it popped out so slowly and of like 2 frames a second. It was like 2 frames. I don't know. It was just so slow the way that they popped out, like the animation. And meanwhile, like the previous, like the original Corsair in like 2021, I think, all of the buttons for the HVAC controls were in the center console. And unbeknownst to me, that was my complaint. I was like, why don't they just put more physical buttons in this center console pocket when they had actually like moved all of those buttons up into the infotainment system? Like, and I was like, oh, okay. And then so like down there in the center console, it's just like a strip of 7 buttons. And it's like, and then the rest is just empty negative space. And I'm like, this just doesn't even look good.
It's like, I guess making it software is cheaper, right? Like making it be controlled by a screen.
Of course.
But it's like, I was watching a video on like the Buick Riata because apparently I'm just fucking fascinated by Buick in just general. This is a trend. But so.
A Buick stand channel?
I just don't get it. But so like in the 80s, the late 80s, Buick came out with those CRT touchscreens, right? And it was like,
okay,
even back then, you had to go through this touch screen to do like the climate control and like the stereo and stuff, right?
Stop.
Like, have you ever seen this before? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, honestly,
so literally a cathode ray tube in the fucking dashboard of, you could get it in the Riata. I forget. I know it was available, maybe like the Tornado, like a couple of models. This was an option.
What was it called?
I think it had a name, but like the Riata, REATTA, definitely had it in like the late 80s, like 88 and 89. And people even back then were like, you're taking away our buttons. Like we want, like it's like, imagine you're trying to tap this little thing while you're going, down the road, which cars.
Oh my God,
yes, girl,
this?
like that was a factory fit thing. And it was infinitely worse than what we have now. But you know what was cool about it though? As I'm talking shit about her, I'm like, you want to know what's cunt? You could diagnose, like that thing could read like trouble codes to you, and it had a little fan. It had a little fan icon that spun whenever the like AC was on. But like again, like you're talking about like a little chiclet, like a Tic Tac sized button that you had to tap to go like up or down in temperature or like do anything with the stereo or anything.
How did I not know about
she's
these?
Cunt.
These are cunty.
They're like a tourer, maybe like a sports tourer. They were.
Oh my God!
It was like part of a new era. They were trying to give Buick a halo car again. They were handmade at the GM. Is it like the Performance Center? There's like a GM special place. They were like, you have to look them up. Like, she has the first version of the 3800. That is in Miss LeSabre that you have, and she goes way back. So we love a Buick, we love a Riata. We do not love touch things. We want buttons.
Yes, we do want buttons. That was the one thing I did love about my truck, was that like the infotainment screen was the infotainment screen and everything else was buttons.
And that's beautiful.
It was beautiful. And now all I have are buttons in my 2004 Buick LeSabre Custom.
I swung so hard in the other direction that now I have buttons for everything.
And what I cannot believe I left this out, the most fun girly car thing I could ever imagine. I changed the front rotors and pads on
I saw that on your story. I can't believe I forgot that too. How's she braking now?
Much better. When we were setting Miss Brakes, the protective oil was smoking off of them, and my brother and I were like, "What's happening? It's catching on fire."
I guess you're technically supposed to use brake clean to get that shit off, but then it'll just burn off. It'll be fine.
It burned off. Yeah, but. So I had to buy an extra part that looks like a Rubik's Cube to do the back ones. And we were going to do the back ones, because it's attached to the it's like a key thing, because the back axle pistons are connected to the emergency brake. Thing,
I've seen that before. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea about this at all. I mean, the fronts just literally needed 19 millimeters for the wheel bolts, and then 15 millimeters for the pads and stuff, and then it's
not from Earth. This is like, no, this is some alien ass shit. Why the fuck?
Yeah,
that's what I think is so fascinating. Is you're like, how did this become the answer for something, right? I think about that all the time when I know packaging is such a difficult concept, not just in automobiles, but you're like, gee, to remove that thing has to come out, or if I want to add that feature, that shit's in the way, and then you just end up with things that have the weirdest fucking shape, or it's so nonsensical at that point that they're just get it out of my sight, and it's I can relate spiritually to that, but it's just fascinating how you end up with stuff like that.
Oh my God. And then this is not car related, but I watched the most horrific, horrifying horror movie I have ever seen. It was called The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and it was horrifying.
I don't know that one, but I'm scared but curious to know more.
It was basically the whole time they were giving an autopsy to this body that they found. And it was gory as hell because it showed the entire autopsy. And then it got really spooky towards the end. And I don't know, maybe I should spoil it. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know.
5 minutes.
But it got so spoiler alert. She was a witch. So, and she made all the other cadavers come alive. It was terrifying. It was terrifying.
I remember.
And it was terrifying because the main characters were smart. And that's what made it scary, because they were doing the best that they could. And they still couldn't get out. And I was like, ah! I mean, we were literally in my living room screaming.
The thing is, horror movies just work a little too well on me. And that's why I don't really have to, I can't watch them. I remember watching, what was it? It was called Oculus. Many years ago,
I don't know that one.
These people move into this house, and there's this like old ass mirror like on the wall, and it like starts to like possess them to do crazy things, like at one point like chew a light bulb, or like it's like it's fucking insane. And it's like I watched that movie and I like could not like look in the general direction of a mirror for like a week. Like I just was like, no. Like, however, she drove a cunty GLK in it. I do remember that at the very beginning.
Oh my god, that makes it worth it. There was a Honda Civic in this one, a 2003, 2004 Honda Civic.
Early 2000s girly.
Yeah. But the movie was in 2018, so they must have borrowed it from you somehow, even though you only had.
Did I tell you about?
Yes, how you wanted to put your cars in,
I told you
in
about
the movie
probably
thing,
like 72 times.
And they told you.
Well, no, I found another company that does it, and I still haven't done it. But like, they apparently, it's lucrative. It's a lucrative market. It's untapped. That's like not true.
Interesting.
It's, like, it's very tapped. But like,
oh my god, I could put my Buick in there now.
Literally, there's like
for a period piece.
Period piece. There's like really old cars like that are in like really amazing condition. Yes, like those have a place, but like there's also a whole thing about just like regular traffic, like background cars. So like people will just like list their daily drivers on there and stuff, and it's just like
that reminds me. I fucking it is so. Whenever I'm watching a period movie, I have to look for like the background cars to see if it really matches the period, and I'm like, oh, that's not from the period. Like I am such a nerd about that.
Like off. It's like, don't you have like consultants for this? Like, didn't somebody tell you that 2013 Chevy Traverse is not from 1980?
No, literally, and like one of the biggest recent offenders of this was True Crime or True Detective, that show that I was talking when I was horny about Woody Allen and
oh yes, that was like 3 weeks ago.
Matthew McConaughey. That was egregious as fuck because they were trying to pass off like oh god, it was like they were trying to pass off early 2000s GMT 800 Chevys and I mean Tahoes and Suburbans as like late 90s one, and I was like, that is like, not. No. This is 1998. That is not. That's not her.
It's like something that also will like piss me off, like in a unreasonable way, is like when the continuity of the car is not there, and like you could tell, like okay, so mean? Like I may have even used this example before, but like in the movie American Beauty, you can clearly tell she's driving two different silver MLs.
Oh,
like,
okay.
The 98s and the 99s had their side turn signal markers in different locations by like an inch or two, like nothing crazy.
Wow.
But then also like at one point you can tell like one of them has the HIDs and one of them doesn't. So it's like
okay,
these are two different cars. It's pissing me off. You want me to think it's one and it's not.
Right. No, it definitely. I think the biggest thing about that is that it takes you out of it.
It takes. It breaks the illusion.
It literally takes
the perfect illusion.
My god, I'm so glad that we like looped it back in from horror movies.
We did eventually.
Oh my god! Wow. Look at us.
Wow.
We're real journalists.
This is an extreme tangent. I'm going to derail us again, but I have to speak this.
Hell yeah.
Because this was so at 1:30 a.m. this morning. I wake up and I literally, I'm not kidding, for about 15 minutes, I thought we had been attacked by like an EMP, like an electromagnetic pulse. Have you ever read about those?
What?
Okay.
Yes, I know what an EMP is.
So like the lights in every electronic in my house was like the power was surging, but not like super high, but it was like the voltage was really low. And then it was like up and down, up and down, up and down. I was like, and I walked like, cause like some of the lights were on, some things just wouldn't work at all. I was like, what the literal fuck is happening? I'm also like half awake, right? And I go into the kitchen and like the microwave, like all of the lights on its little display are on. It won't do anything. Like one light, like LED bulb is on in my like living room. But then like my alarm clock would like fade in and out. Like I was just like, are we under attack? Like, am I about to die? But then like, I was like, my phone still works. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I think a transformer got like severely fucked like near my street or something, because eventually I did get a text from Georgia Power being like, something's not right. and we're like working on it. But like when I tell you I was in genuine ass fear for like I said, like 15 fucking minutes, I was like, what in fuck? I have never experienced anything like that ever. It's like power off or power on, like maybe some flickering. This was like, I literally felt like I was at the beginning of a horror movie or like a apocalyptic event. But I'm fine now. I just had to get that out. Then I went back to sleep.
The drama, that Kurt ending.
Oh, at one point, Ranger was very scared by it. At one point, he tried to lay on top of my head.
My God, poor Ranger. I just Googled, this made me think of like Googling like what cars would survive an EMP.
Diesels with no mechanical.
It says that, continue.
Because I Googled it last night, girl. So it was like diesels without electronic controls, like mostly mechanical fuel injection. I read like this article written by like a naval general about what would happen in an EMP attack. Like,
girl, we are the same. We are fused. We really are fused.
But anyway, what were you saying?
Oh my God. Well, so this article says that contrary to intuition, electronics being integrated into cars is not a new thing. Cars have had onboard computers since 1968.
Maybe very few.
Most cars will survive. It says why, but then why does it say most cars will survive an EMP attack? But the vehicle that is most likely to survive is an older model diesel vehicle with minimal electronics.
Yeah, so like computerized fuel injection has existed for a long time, but it was very much not the norm, I would say, until the 80s. Even like some cars have like computerized carburetors, like GM was doing Miss Throttle body ignition for a while, others as well. The like the Mercedes diesels, like the late 70s, early 80s, like they have like minimal electronics. Like they can run on like a thought and a prayer because it's just all mechanically timed, vacuum controlled, like very few actual pieces of electronics in that entire thing. If the vacuum stop fails, the thing just won't turn off, and you have to like move the lever that says stop to choke the engine until it dies. It's kind of kinky. Anyway, you were saying?
Well, I was just gonna say we could buy like an old, like a 1960 something Mercedes diesel or something.
We could go all of like 13 miles per hour, but we'll survive.
Like Mad Max.
But then, you see, this is the thing. Like, do you want to survive the apocalypse? Because the second somebody sees that you have something, you're just going to get, like, killed.
That's so true. And honestly, you're the second person. You're the second one of my very close friends that have been like, I don't want to survive.
No, I want to die immediately.
So, I'm like,
send the bomb or whatever directly to my home. I don't want to know what happens after that.
Not directly.
Literally, if you want a target, I will go paint one on the roof. Like, I do not... I might be an Eagle Scout, but I can't. I don't want to learn how to live off of berries, and there's no nail salons in the apocalypse.
Did we talk about how my favorite show back in the day in 2009-10 was The Walking Dead, and Hyundai had a sponsored spot, and they would push a Tucson in the Walking Dead. Like they would literally use a Tucson, like a brand new Tucson that they just like threw dirt on. And they were like, The Walking Dead is brought to you by Hyundai Tucson.
They filmed
and
so much of that in downtown Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. And wait. Oh, Civil War was filmed. Oh my God. Okay, wait. Do you remember when we took the Sequoia TRD and we went off-roading and the quads and stuff? I swear to God that in Civil War, they took their 2004 Ford Excursion to a gas station in that exact spot in northern where I swear to God it was that gas station.
Literally, there's so much film industry around here. It probably fucking was.
Well, and I looked it up, and that movie was shot in Atlanta for the most part, and so they had to have gone like an hour north where we went for like the more scenic kind of like they're driving across the country, and so they're
like big canoe area, like Jasper something.
It was that gas station on the corner with like the white background and the blue and the yellow.
I was like, we had to use the other one. Yes.
Yes, I swear to God, that was the gas station.
Probably. Actually, I feel like I don't know if I could Google this and like see like.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway,
it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it just got me going, gal. I was like very shocked and
you were
appalled.
Like, I've been there, and I was scared.
By the time that this airs, I will have already been to the Mustang's 60th anniversary.
Is that what's Wednesday?
Yes. So Ford has invited me to the Mustang's 60th anniversary, and it's going to be hosted at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they're going to have hot laps and drifting. A full Mustang lineup, top Ford racing drivers, owner car show, Mustang racing lineup, and live entertainment.
That sounds like a whole ass event. That sounds exciting.
I am so stoked. And it's kind of full circle for me because my first ever like model that I ever built as a kid was the original Mustang. And I like made it in Carolina blue. And then
she's taking off on foot.
I was gifted at the New York Auto Show this Lego.
Is that the Dark Horse or
Dark Horse Mustang? And I was like, this is so
literally,
full circle.
I am obsessed with this for you. I am so excited to hear how that goes. Oh, speaking of Ford, I don't think did I already talk about the Lightning thing?
The nav?
No. Okay. So speaking of Ford, our fair lady, Miss Balaska, girly of mine, and also part-time Gears and Cruise contributor, has been loaned a 2023 F-150 Lightning Lariat and is going to tow his Miata from Massachusetts down to Atlanta with it next weekend. And that will be like a very interesting electric towing test. Test of the infrastructure.
Oh my God, the Lightning.
Electric. So, Balaska has a 2018 F-150 diesel. That's like his personal vehicle.
Yeah.
And so he's been very fascinated by the Lightning, and he asked for one to do this loan, and they were like, fuck it, sure, why not? And so now I'm like, when I read electric vehicle, like EV truck towing reviews, like the common thread is that the range suffers like really like greatly, right? And so
really bad.
I'm very fascinated to see how this turns out for him. He's going to write about it. He's going to do a video about it.
For the channel?
Yeah, for Gears and Careers. I also will have the opportunity to drive it myself. I'm on the loan. So I've never driven one of those. I'm very excited to experience her.
Have I told you about my Lightning story?
I know we've talked about it a little bit, but I'm sure whatever you're about to tell me, I've already forgotten.
Well, I had a Lightning. I had an XR. Hello, I had an XLT.
Yes,
is that a trim? I had the XLT Lightning, and it towed impeccably. It was like almost like I didn't have a trailer on the back. Like it was, and especially with, oh my God, it was incredible. But the millisecond I put the trailer on the back of that, it just like cut the range.
What did you tow? I feel like you must have told me about this. I just can't remember any of the details.
A 4,000-pound camper trailer.
Wow.
Yeah. And it had control arms and everything. I mean, it was a big ass trailer. By the time that I got close to the beach where I was towing it to, I had 60 miles left, and I think I had like 70 miles to go. And because it was so wishy-washy with the numbers, like sometimes I would get like 80 miles left, sometimes I would get 50 miles left, and I would get like another 100 miles.
Consistency.
Yeah, it was just the consistency was not there. Raleigh is flush with level 3 chargers. It's great. It's there between the Tesla. There's like innumerable Tesla superchargers, and then like a couple Electrify America ones. And so it's fine. And then even like the farthest away is Sanford that has them, and that's like an hour from Raleigh. But anywhere outside of that, you're lucky if you get a level 2 charger. Like you. And so like between here and the beach, there is like only level 2 chargers. And during the summer, the power grid can't sustain that. And so I was only getting like 19 kilowatts, maybe, like at the charging station. I mean, it was useless because everybody's using their air conditioner. And so the power grid is like, she's doing her absolute best.
Life.
And she's lip syncing for her life. And I had to drop the trailer. And not to mention the process to which it took to set up. I had to set up an account to start the charging.
That would have pushed me up to and over the edge.
I cannot believe that I'm having to do this. Why can I not just like at Electrify America, you could literally just tap your Apple Watch or your phone and pay for it. And like because it was like originally, I think it was like I think it was GE at first, and then Duke Power, which is the monopoly in my state, took it over, but they never did anything with the QR code that was on the side, it was like a useless QR code. It was a useless QR code, so you had to call the number, and so I had to set up the account, and then 25 minutes later, I started charging. So I wasted a half hour, and then by the time that an hour and a half rolled by, I maybe added 2 miles. And so I was like, I called my friend, and thank God she lived in New Bern, which was like an hour from where I was. So she was like, I will come with my Ford Explorer Timberline 22. And thank God that had a towing capacity of like 4,400 pounds because we put it on the back of her car, and it literally like was like this. The trailer hitch was like this the whole way. So it was like we're gonna test like a up 30-degree angle.
Last like gram of capacity. Wow.
And so we had to drive because I had enough power to drive to the beach without the trailer comfortably. And so like you want to talk about range anxiety. I mean like that, because again, I think that those trucks are great for around town, but they're not great for long haul trucking.
That's honestly what's so fascinating to me about this like test that Alaska is going to be doing is like, this is like the hot goss, right? Like people are like the torque impeccable. Like I'm sure it drives exquisitely. I think they look pretty good. Like I could give or take like some of the.
It does, and they look great. Right. They're fast as hell. They're fun to drive. It's like,
okay, truck stuff. Right. And especially like if you're a person who owns a diesel, like arguably an exquisite truck experience, except for, servicing them or paying for the fuel. But like, I digress.
Right.
Like the sheep piss or whatever that is, like.
Yes.
The thing that I keep thinking about, and like maybe this is a non-issue, I just have never bothered to even Google it. Charging with a trailer, like at a lot of these places, like where like EV chargers are set up, like that seems like that would be difficult. Like, what's your take on that?
No, you have to drop the trailer. You have to drop the trailer.
That adds like an entire ass set of steps to this process, which is already going to be a lengthy one if you're not getting full charging speed.
If I did not drop my trailer, I would have taken up. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I would have taken up like 10 parking spots or something. It would have been really rude if I had had just like pulled in with my trailer. But at the same time, actually, you know what I think it was? I don't think I could actually pull into it with the trailer because it was positioned in such a way that I couldn't actually pull in with the trailer attached. Now, but when I got to the beach, thankfully the Ford does come with like a level 2 plug, like a 240 volt plug. And the campground that we were at had the 240 volt plugs for the campers. So I was able to charge the car and like use it on the beach and off-road it and stuff. And so it was fun. But my whole point in going down there was seeing if I could do that, if I could tow it and get there, which I couldn't. I mean, technically, maybe I could have, right? Like maybe I could have, but I did not want to like risk it, right? And especially because my friends were depending on me. I was meeting up with 2 people. Like,
well, I feel like that's just a really like that is a scenario that like is so possible. Because I mean, obviously, like it did happen, right? But like, I'm not saying you're a liar, but like, I think that the thing that is so fascinating to me is like the difference in charging speed, right? Like this all really hinges upon you actually, like, the concept of an EV, the concept of a long distance EV travel really hinges upon you actually being able to get the full charging speed that the vehicle can support. And frequently, very often, you are splitting that charging capacity with another vehicle that's at the charger. Or like you said, like it's in the middle of the day, electrical demand is high. It might, maybe even the equipment is overheating. I'm sure there's so much to it, right? And it's just like, if you're going to plug that bitch into like a 110, like you will be there for like one business week. Like you are like it is not.
But even if it was like let's say, for example, best case scenario, and it was like a 300 kilowatt charging station, and then you could maybe eke out 100 kilowatts, right? I would only be there for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour. It would have made my 2.5 hour trip 3.5 hours, right? Because I didn't need a full battery. Like I just needed enough to
like,
get
I just need to like top off, like something to take the edge off.
Because I remember too, like I actually I first stopped off at a different charging station, and it was a level 1. So I would have been there.
You're like, this is literally, I might as well just like get one of those rotary like flashlights and plug that into the truck. Like,
no, literally. Like, and so I get to the beach or whatever, but the whole point of me going to the beach was to use, or the whole point of this whole trip was to use the generator style plug. I mean, they had it was like a 4 or 5 prong generator plug that you would like plug into it, and then you would lock it, and then you would have and then you would be able to plug it into the trailer. And so I was going to use the truck as a generator for the trailer. And the truck
was like, bitch, I can't. I don't have it in me.
I wasn't confident enough in that. So I did use the zone lighting, but that was it. Because I didn't want to die. I didn't want the truck to die on the way. And when I tell you, I made it to Sanford with 2 miles of range left. And I refused to drop the trailer that time. I was like, fuck that. I'm not dropping the trailer. And it was at Electrify America. But I was kind about it. Like I definitely, like if somebody pulled up, I would get out immediately and be like, do you have enough room to get in? Do I need to move? Like I will move if you need me to. But I was just like, and so I was like jackknifed, like in this shopping mall where this Electrify America was. And like people were like walking around looking at me like, what is going on? And I was like, girl, I'm
last.
I'm at my limit.
Like, I will eat your throat with my teeth. Like I don't know what else you use, but like,
what am I, a zombie?
Maybe, I don't know. But no, like really, like it's.
And this is brought to you by Hyundai Tucson.
Throw some dirt on that Tucson. You're a zombie now. I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh no, like the infrastructure, right? Like it's just, I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I spoke to somebody at Ford, and he was telling me that in other countries, they have like gas station style charging stations where you could just pull in and fill up, so to speak.
I've been trying to give this idea away. Turn a Sonic into EV chargers. Add them. There's also a canopy. Solar power that bitch. Lord, I am like, somebody please take my intellectual property. Like, just do it.
But yeah, they just have the easier pull-in charger stations, and it's like, why do we have these like offshoot, half forgotten fucking like,
from like a utility perspective? I have like very limited experience with like EV chargers. Like we do install them like in projects at work and stuff. Design. I don't fucking install shit or fuck myself, but like a lot of the times it's like the location of them so far away from like the power service. Maybe we've even talked about this before. Like it's just, it's a really difficult problem because like you're talking about a lot of power. Like the conductors for these things are just like huge. And then it's like whether or not the building you're connecting to has that capacity in its electrical service, let alone its panel, right? Like there's so many steps to this. And it's just, I would be fascinated if you are knowledgeable in the field of EVSE charging equipment and would like to be on Fungerly Car Time. We have email addresses and direct messages that you can do. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a very new thing. It's a very new problem.
Where is that at the end of the episode? We could
because if I try to do it, I can't.
Speaking of, are you ready to wrap up?
Yes,
Lovely. Well, we can definitely continue this conversation next time because I am very fascinated by it. Because I think it would be so cool if we had some future retro. Did I say that right?
Retrofuturism. Yes.
Did I do it again? I just think it would be so cool if we had a 1950s style electric, almost like Fallout kind of style. Fallout series video game.
Drive-ins. Everything used to be a drive-in. The Great American Road Trip when cars got a mile per gallon.
Or drive-in movie theaters. Or drive-in movie theaters with charging stations. That would be so kind. We can continue this conversation next time. I hope whatever BMW that I get this month is an i5 or something, because I love the electric BMWs. Yeah. But on that note, thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast. We come out every Monday at 9 a.m., or at least we try to. Please be patient with us, and we do appreciate your patience regardless. We are available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever else, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on all platforms. It very much helps us out. On Spotify, if you would like to be a contributor, you can contribute 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. Huge shout out to those who already contribute. You can cancel it at any time. There is no contractual obligation required. A huge shout out to our YouTube followers and listeners. Please don't forget to comment, and subscribe on there. I'm awkwardly looking at the camera right now. Thank you, everyone. Seriously, we really enjoy doing this podcast, and we love each and every one of you. And anything else you would like to say?
I'm going to go eat some Cheez-Its.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Bye.